Good afternoon. Today we're going to talk a little bit about Chapter 15 and the finances that it constitutes with international trade. So throughout the chapter, we were able to identify different scenarios and cases. And first of all, we were able to analyze how the letter of credit that calls for payments upon delivery vary with different documents, and most specifically, this one is called cash against document transactions, and it requires a signed draft. Furthermore, document transactions allows for buyers to obtain documents and make payments in the future, and it is called the acceptance against documents that requires a timed draft. To a certain extent, you are able to identify that buyer obtains a letter of credit from a bank to guarantee payments to the seller. Therefore, it is called the account party. This is where the seller is a beneficiary and the bank is referred to as the issuing bank. If the letter of credit is also guaranteed by the seller's bank, then the letter is then referred to as a confirmed letter of credit. And if there is no second guarantor, then the seller's bank is implying that the acting then is an advising bank. We go on to identify how the rules that govern international documentary letters of credit are called the Uniform Customs and Practices for Documentary Credits, or UCPC 600. That's how they are known as otherwise. The UCP rules state that the banks are only required to review the document listed in the letter of credit, such as a facial compliance rule, and they are not required to understand the technical terms used by the contracting parties. Other UCP rules presume that letters of credit are not transferable rules unless they state so, and that they are irrevocable unless they state otherwise. We go to also identify how the banks are usually entitled to reject any document that contains a discrepancy under the strict compliance rule. The arbitrariness of banks rejecting generally conforming documents are regulated by the International Standard Banking Practice, otherwise known as your ISVP. The letter of credit is required to expressly state an expiration date. Despite the express expiration date, it has also implied second expiration date known as a 21-day rules that requires the seller to deliver the documents within 21 days after receiving the bill of lading. One form of trade finance is in the banker's acceptance, in which the issuing or conforming bank guarantees payment by placing a stamp on time draft. The time draft is then referred to as the banker's acceptance and can be sold on the secondary market. The seller's performance, though, may be guaranteed by a standby letter of credit, bank guarantee, or a performance bond, such as a set of rules that govern standby letters of credit in the International Standby Practices, otherwise known as your ISP 98. And then last but not least, we have other means of trading financing, including back-to-back letters of credit, factoring, or forfeiting. Factoring is the discounting and selling of foreign account receivables on to another company. Forfeiting is the selling of a discount of a longer term account receivables or a promissory notes. A buyer may also allow to unsecured advance to the seller on the letter of credit through the insertion of a red clause into the letter of credit, whereas American companies can also obtain loans, guarantees, and insurance through different U.S. agencies and programs, where the Exim Bank has working capital loan guarantee and finance lease guaranteed program. The Foreign Corporation Insurance Agency, otherwise known as your FCIA, provides credit insurance and the overseas private insurance corporation, also known as your OPIC, which has performance bond program and issues political risk insurance. The Small Business Administration, though, provides loans and loan guarantees. Overall, this covers pretty much Chapter 15, and I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Thank you.